One of these days we're gonna get a haircut. One of these days. Remember when you used to get excited to go film? By that, for me, it was skateboarding. Somebody would have a camera, and I was lucky enough to have parents that had a camera, and they'll let me use it, and had those little tapes you put in and you record, and it seemed like it was a big day when we would go do that. And you had little digital cameras, which were about the size of cell phones, and then now just every day, I feel like recording something, flip your phone, hit the red button, and record. People's whole lives they make all their money off their rectangle, all their money off of recording themselves or recording something. They don't even have a real camera, they just use the camera on their phone. It's a trip. It's a trip when you think about it, but it's not anything out of the ordinary these days. It's odd now if you don't have a cell phone. And I was in my daughter's back to school night presentation from her teacher, and she's in kindergarten, and she's a proponent of wait until 8, which meant she likes to tell people to wait to get their kids' cell phones until they're in 8th grade. And she did that for her own children, but she said she also felt like she kind of ostracized her kids from their peers. And that's such a huge situation to deal with. And I'm glad I'm a ways off from that, but I got a 9-year-old, and I haven't even considered getting her a phone yet. I don't think it's near enough time. She said, though, she has classmates that I think had phones last year when they were in 3rd grade, so 8 or 9. And it just doesn't seem like the right move, or anything good can come out of that. But, everyone's entitled to their own parenting style, but I feel like I'm pretty addicted to my phone. I'd prefer not to pass that quality down to my kids. I'm hoping I have the discipline to start weaning myself off here a little bit by a little bit, and hopefully to a point where they can say I'm not on my phone all the time. I've really made a better effort the last year not to be on the weekends. But it's hard. It's such a part of me personally, because I'm just not good with people, or I've convinced myself I'm not, and I don't want to be alone with my thoughts, which I used to think was just a funny saying I would say to my wife and other people, but it's really the truth. I am listening to podcasts or music, or listening to movies, I think just to just give my brain something to focus on other than my insecurities. I'm sure I'm not alone in this thinking, but it's hard to just sit in your own thoughts. I think I've gone running without my headphones. I think I did it 3 times just this summer. So in the last 3 months, I probably did it 3 times. And one time was great. Another time just and another time was just. All 3 times it was hard. Because now all you have really is the things that you're chewing on in your head to just keep thinking about. Not to say that I don't think about those things when I am distracted with podcasts, movies, and music, but it seems like at least when you have those things, you are focused on that frontally a lot more. I haven't eaten yet today, but this morning I went for a 6-mile jog, and I feel like I battled every foot of that jog. And I do know I didn't run the day before, which made me think my legs would have been a little more fresh. But I also stayed up until about almost midnight working. And before I started working again, I probably helped my daughter for like an hour doing math homework. I don't think that would add to the exhaustion of the body, but yeah, I woke up. I went to bed about 11:45 or 12, and then got up a little after 5, took a shit, and then I was working again like a little after 5. And I feel like I did 4 and 5 hours of sleep a night like a couple times the last 3 months, but I don't know, maybe it caught up with me today. And I'm sure not eating is not helping also, but I felt like fat yesterday for me. I know everyone's definition is a little bit different. And also I feel like when I don't shave, I feel like my face is fatter. And I hate shaving, so can't consistently do it. And if I shave twice a week, that's like good. I'm more of a once every 3 weeks or a month. Like, I didn't think this is going on almost 2 weeks, and I guess I just don't really care that much. But when I'm clean shaven, I think my face looks the best symmetrically. But I've never invested enough time to figure out what the right amount of days is to shave, where I'm not gonna cut myself, because I know it's not every day, unless I've always just used disposable razors, but it's not every day, because I'll just end up cutting myself, and it's like in the 3 to 4 day range, but I'll just give myself an excuse not to. Or if I know I'm gonna be out in the sun a lot, it's a lot easier to put sunscreen on when your face is shaved. So that was kind of a motivating factor in the summer when we were doing more stuff outside. But yeah, I don't know, I just caught myself in the mirror a few times yesterday, or I looked down at my body, and I think I just felt thicker. I think I had been eating more carbs. I did come back late on Tuesday, and I drank a few beers, and then kind of fell asleep, and I kind of woke up middle of the night feeling a little bit queasy, like I was gonna throw up, but I think it was mostly because I got up too fast. But yeah, could just be from the driving this week. This week I'm heading to my second away match of the week, and it's not that far. It's like 40 minutes or something. But yeah, we had one on Tuesday that I went to, and then again today, Thursday, and then heading back to the same area on Saturday. So maybe tonight, coupled with the Tuesday and Wednesday night, maybe those together. It was probably like 11 to 5 or 6 the previous day. And I actually didn't do anything that morning, yesterday morning, whereas I had been running every morning. I didn't run or work yesterday morning. I just slept in till like 6:15, 6:30, and then just started doing lunches and stuff. And I've figured out that my mornings, I heard this listening to Rob Deerdick like a year ago, that the mornings are a great time that can be utilized for work or exercise. And so I've been trying to do one or the other. So today I woke up at 5 and then I worked for like an hour and a half. But then I went on my run. I know I did eat late last night, which I shouldn't have. I think it was like 10 o'clock when I made myself a snack of like crackers and cheese and Oreos and fruit snacks and some other stuff. So I'm assuming I did not digest that stuff very well. But I was getting the feeling also like in my right hamstring, not the one that I pulled like in summer, but towards the end of summer, but the other side, it was starting to feel like it was that feeling I had right before I pulled it last time. So maybe that was it. I don't know. As you've heard me whine on and on about probably the last 3 months, is just the difficulty it is to go 8 every day. 8 hours of sleep. I'll be lucky if I'm getting that once a week. Closing in on probably 6 to 6.5 on average. But 8 hours of work and 8 hours of sleep, and then 8 hours of family and entertainment, personal time. It's hard to check all 8 off every day. I'm guessing sleep's probably the most difficult one. And I'm not saying sleep like 8 hours of solid sleep, or because I could hardly ever do that. I always get up to go pee, and I always have at least twice a night, if not more, depending on what I've been doing the day before. But there's got to be a few times. Yeah, I usually try to at least make it one day a week. I think the weekends probably, if I'm not go running in the mornings on a Saturday or Sunday, I can usually get that 8. Then it ends up being, I don't know, 9 to 6 or so more. But yeah, I got my 8 hours of work yesterday, but it came at a cost. I had to work until almost midnight, and I hate doing that to myself. But also lately, I can't. Like, I don't even remember last time I logged 8 hours in the office, like straight up. I just cannot. Lately, I can't stand to just be sitting there doing the repetitive portion of my job, which is pretty much my entire job. Like, I know what I gotta do, which is, I don't know, is that not life? And I understand it, but lately, just being there has been, I've been clock watching a lot more. And I can only reason with because I enjoy not being there a lot more. Just doing stuff with my kids and my wife and volleyballing or just chilling. Yeah, so it's been clock watchy as of late. And I did not hit this traffic on Tuesday. I think maybe I left 5 or 10 minutes earlier. that was probably helpful. It was. And I'm even feel like the last week or two, I've been a little more relaxed in practice and matches, and I still really love this sport, but I don't know if it's egotistical, but I feel like sometimes there's too many people that want to help coach, and you just get lost in the mix, or at least this is how I feel, and I feel like my point of view gets skewed because of the people that are around me, and then I'm like unsure of what I want to accomplish that day in practice or match, or honestly, who even wants me there, who even wants like advice or tips or to be coached by me, and that all connects to my just my basic insecurities as a person, but it comes out on the court, in the gym also. And one would think that after like 15, 16, once I started in like the fall of 2008, so like 15 seasons or 16 seasons. This is going to be my 12th season as the boys head coach, and then I did another 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Did another 5 seasons before that, so this is going to be my 17th season coaching. 17th season of boys, and then I think I started with the girls program in 2011, so not that far behind. But so after a combined 16 plus, I don't know, almost 30 seasons of, one would think I would have found my confidence and my understanding. But I find myself like second guessing it, or just passing the buck on to the next coach, whom seems a little bit more enthusiastic, and a lot of them are younger than I. So, and also I've also become a lot more comfortable as an assistant coach, just whatever my like 2 cents is on the situation or advice, I'll just tell my head coach and let my head coach relay that information to the team. Basically let the team feel like it's coming from them, but it was asked of me, and I gave it up. And I'm starting to not really care as much about that. If it's good for the team and it's good for the win, I think then you're making a conscious effort to do something for others. And I'm just so in my own head about, like, am I such a selfish person in general? Like, why does it seem so hard to convince myself that this is okay to do? To go to a match on a Thursday, because it's something that I like to do and I love to do, and if in the same breath, though, if I'm like questioning if I'm like not as into it anymore, is that acceptable? Like, if I'm not like living and breathing every single like day, like with as much passion as I used to, should I even be doing it anymore? And like, is it okay to go through peaks and valleys and and waves of enthusiasm about stuff in your life, I think the easiest way to answer it, or the knee-jerk reaction, would be to say yes. But I don't know. If it's important, you would want to feel like you show that passion all the time. Or maybe your passions, maybe your degree of passion changes, and that's part of it also. Because there's coaches in the NFL right now that have probably been coaching in the NFL for upwards of 30 and 40 seasons, and I wonder if they are as gung-ho as they were, or how they've kept it so gung-ho, or have they all had a natural progression of being those loud, screaming, vein-popping head dudes when they were younger to now it's a lot more calm, and it's a lot more, but they're still, enjoying it the same amount. I don't know. I am jumping from lily pad to lily pad in tangents right now, but I don't know. I think I've definitely been making like a better effort to get it all done each day, so that I can like appease everybody. Financially, I need to hit those marks as things have gotten more expensive, with 3 kids being involved in more stuff, while also trying to have time for myself to exercise and sleep, and do things that I enjoy, such as my coaching, which, yes, I technically get paid for it, but it's, 2 times a year for, very little, and I've said before I would do this for free, but if it really was like $0 being paid and they wouldn't pay for my gas, from time to time, I would really have to reconsider. No, I wouldn't. I would, because I just like it, and I had so much fun with this sport when I was younger. But there would have to be something else to make a few more dollars come in. And that phrase gets thought about and mentioned and whispered and yelled so often. I feel like it loses so much of its gusto. It's also a pretty powerful statement to have, the wherewithal to say you don't know something is pretty honest of yourself, because I know a lot of people like to feel like they are knowledgeable or know about a lot of things, but I've been trying to pipe up when I don't know things. I want to be the first to say I don't know, and throw it to somebody who does have a few opinions, or not opinions, but nuggets of truth about the subject. But I think it's just probably my safety phrase, just and filler phrase, because I'm still searching. I'm gonna be 41 in like 4-5 months. It's September. Like 3 months, maybe 3.5 months. I feel like this year really went fast. Yeah, and just coming down here, yesterday, I think, was the first time in a while that I had driven down here since last volleyball season. Since I went to that, all Channel Leagues meeting, and that had a that made an impression on me that day. And now I'm remembering I filmed an episode that day on the way down, and then in the car before I went into the restaurant and met with the other coaches. But yeah, that was I remember that day. That was like April 22nd, which I thought was gonna be and it is, but I thought that was gonna be the day. But it's been scaled back considerably since then, with pockets of I think about 2 weeks here or there. Yeah. Might have even been 3 weeks that first time. It's hard, but I don't think I'm going all the way down, because I'm a cheapskate, and I just don't think I couldn't live with myself if I literally drained the entire account, and I just don't have enough. So, but I think that having to step back then made me turn the microscope on myself a little bit more than I had in previous years. And that made me think a little bit more and consider what my hang up and what my, where's all my insecurities stem from, and my, low self-esteem and everything I've been struggling with, and then my, having to figure out, who I am and what I want to do, and, take some accountability for just never taking a step to try something I decided on. Or maybe I'm figuring that out right now as we drive, as we speak. But like I can see how clear it can be, but also it's just so hard to upturn your life. I wouldn't say 180 degrees, but I don't know, maybe 90. Or at least hard for me. Maybe I'm just stubborn. And I think that probably has something to do with it. I know I've always hated asking for help. I'm sure that's because if I could do it my own, I would feel, I guess, proud of myself. Or just like if I asked for help, then I would have to be reminded that I was wrong, or I could be wrong, and that would probably make me feel bad about myself. I don't know, I think I mentioned it before, but I was a pretty big crier in elementary school. When I would get a question wrong, or I don't even know if it was losing, like games or something, but it was if I raised my hand to answer a question the teacher had asked, if I got that question wrong in front of everybody, then that's when I would start crying. And not in like a super dramatic way. I would try to fight it off as much as I could, but yeah, I would start like welling up. And then I remember my 4th grade teacher, I think, told me to just knock it off, and not in like an aggressive way, but just it was pretty comforting, and it kind of made it seem like it's not this big of a deal. You don't need to. And I mean, the exact same way that I've seen my daughter get frustrated or get something wrong and then start crying. And it's so interesting the way genes, because it's not like I told her about, or maybe I did, but it's not like she heard me tell her my stories of getting stuff wrong in class and then crying, and then her remembering that and being like, oh, let me try and do that. Like, or maybe subconsciously she did connect to that, and then her brain told her it's like, should a situation happen like this, it's okay to cry because daddy did. I don't know. But yeah, I remember that seemed to be a thing for me, was getting an answer wrong and I'd cry. Or I remember there was like one soda, there was little brothers and sisters could get a soda or a drink or after a soccer game of your older siblings after they all got theirs, and there was like one Sprite left, and me and my friend both went for it, and we kind of both grabbed it and we fought over it, and then pretty sure I just like let it go, but the other guy was stronger than me too, more masculine, even in the 2nd or 3rd grade. But yeah, I remember I went and cried about that too, over by a tree. I don't know why that sticks in so vividly, and it was a Sprite too. Yeah, and then with that same dude, I remember crying about like a jogathon where I thought he cheated, like he ran an extra half lap after the like horn or the bell had went off for us to stop, and I thought his mom helped him cheat because she was marking off the laps on the back of the sheet that was pinned to your shirt. And I remember being very upset about that, and I probably cried about that also. But yeah, it's what took me off on this tangent of crying, I don't recall. And as I got older, I don't think I ever cried until I just got stressed out, or just like grandparents passing away, or pretty much whenever my mom could tell that something was bugging me, or I was like down, and she would start asking about it, then usually when we'd start talking about it, that would like make me cry. But I think, yeah, I would cry. I would feel a little bit relieved, like I had gotten something off my chest, but I don't remember making any real significant changes after those times. I remember after my brother's wedding, I thought at that point I had made a kind of a move in the right direction, like I was gonna go back to San Diego and really like start trying and figuring it out. And I think that stemmed from one, I got probably very annihilated that weekend at his wedding. In fact, I know I did, because I threw open a trash can at the wedding. Once we had to start drinking the nasty tequila. But also I probably went into the whole poor me, like, look at how much my brother's done, and I'm just like this, And also, like, I probably spent the previous like 4 or 5 days like doing a lot of socializing with people. So I thought maybe that, like, I had 4 or 5 good days of like talking to people and trying to be like a good, I guess, listener, or being like, and I'm like, you know what, I can do this. I just need to like try. But sure, I went back to school or back to town, back to San Diego, and just fell back into my old habits. And God, there was something about that weekend that I felt pretty confident about moving on. This was like a defining time when I was going to be starting a new chapter in my life, and I was going to be like different this time. But I guess it wasn't. But yeah, My brother's wedding blew my wedding out of the water, dude. It was crazy good. And mine was on a Thursday, and it was at some play. It was at like a nice hotel, and the DJ showed up late, didn't play any of the songs we requested, and I fucking slow danced with my mom, and it went to a fucking country song, which if anybody knows me, they know I hate country, and so it was just like, it felt so like, I don't know, not as genuine. That's not the word, but it was just, I don't know. And thank you to my friends from San Diego that came up for that, because they really made it super fun for me. But I had pretty much lost touch with most of them. I think I only went down to San Diego a handful of times, maybe 2 or 3, since I had moved back up here. So that was from 09 to 17. So that was like 8 years where I was such a shitty friend to them, and I've been a shitty friend since, pretty much. The only 3 times I've been down there, I think, has been for volleyball tournaments, and I haven't even told them I've just done volleyball and then came back. And my thinking's like I haven't tried to go down there with my kids, because then I feel obligated to like hit them up and go do stuff with them. That's not true. I went to Chris's wedding down there also, but just the whole thought of like making plans and then meeting up and doing stuff, and then I don't know, I'm just so anxious about that. And I just don't really feel like anybody wants to see me or us. And I'm sure that's because I'm not making an effort to keep those relationships solid. That's 100% my fault. I think that's what I was thinking about earlier today, was just that I don't think I'm very good at relationships. All of them. Like with my kids, my friends, my wife, my parents, my players. I don't think I would come across very genuine. Like, I don't think I come across as someone that people want to stay in touch with. I don't even know if I want to, but maybe I'm thinking it would just be nice to be like wanted. Does that make sense? Like, I wrote in a journal in college that I wished I had been more popular in high school. Which, looking back, I think I was like middle of the road popular within my own friend group, but I wasn't. I don't know, I've seen too many movies. I guess everybody wants to be like the multiple sport athlete and the prom king and the president and all that stuff, even though I don't want to be the president. But I mean, I don't know what it feels like to like have everybody like say vying for your attention, like walking through the halls or all the time, or even the teacher. Like, that's probably a pretty stressful position now that I think about it. Heavy is the crown. But I think secretly that I've always kind of wanted that to some degree. But what I mostly feel like is when I walk into a room that I'm pretty much wearing a camouflage suit and nobody sees me, and that I'm just I don't know, I don't feel like I'm like a big deal. And I know that's okay, but is it also okay to want to be like a big deal? I don't know, it seems pretty egotistical. It also seems super egotistical of me to even like complain or like, and I'm just trying to be, I guess, as honest as possible, but do I deserve all that? And I would have to answer no, because I don't put in the effort to make any of those things like a possibility. I don't think I made a huge effort to make a ton of relationships or play, like, I only tried to play 2 sports, and I did it 1 year, but I mean, all these things I guess I was talking about, you have to make a lot of effort to be friends with a lot of different people, or I don't know, it all sounds like so much, but in the movies it's made to look so easy. And I definitely watch a lot of movies, and did watch a lot of movies growing up, and I think I've always found comfort in television because I don't have to think about myself for 30 minutes, an hour and a half, 6 hours, whatever that is. I am simply watching someone else's life or some character's life unfold, and it's entertaining, or it's sad, or here's a thing that I do a lot, and it's a movie I've seen, and it comes to a part in the movie where it's like a crisis or something bad's gonna happen. Not just something bad, but like, I think something embarrassing. I'll like skip it or just stop watching that, or I just don't want to see, because I don't want to see somebody anxious, I guess is what it is. Like, I'm anxious watching, so I don't want to see that part. Which is why I used to always say I didn't like Disney movies, because they all seem so sad for like 5 or 10 minutes at the end. And then if that's like the last thing that happens, I don't want that to be, I guess I don't want that to be the last thing I associate with that memory, or with that movie or something. I don't know. There I go, saying it again. And I'm just jealous of everybody that has figured it out. Maybe the thing they figured out is that you just have to keep trying. Excuse me. Maybe that's the figuring out part, is you just have to try to have new passions, or whatever you're doing is, you don't know if it's going to be fun until you really like throw yourself into it. I've never felt like I settled on one thing, because I must just be so anxious and so afraid of, I used to say confrontation, but maybe it's just failure or success, or both. And I heard someone say that the failures are the thing they enjoy a lot, because then they know where it was bad, and it's only going to go up, and that they can rebuild themselves from there. It seems like a kind of a, and you listen to that shit and you're like, yeah, that's fucking right, dude. Let's fail, and then you snap back to reality. You're like, I don't even know if I have time to fail, and I don't even know if I have money to fail right now. But I mean, I've painted myself into such a middle class corner. It's a little bit stressful, to be honest. Like, I have a house that that is helped paid. My wife and I own a house, and my parents help us pay for it, and they're on the lease, and it makes me feel like a little kid all the time. I kind of feel like I'm living in my parents' house. And I feel worse that it's not spotless all the time, and that I don't invite them over all the time. And gosh, even that just makes me anxious, thinking about like making a dinner and inviting my folks and maybe my brother and their family over, having the house get, that's a day and a half project right there to get my house clean and organized, and the dishes and then the cooking and then the dishes afterwards, and then not wanting there to ever be a moment of silence where people are just eating and thinking and that this is boring and why are we here. That's pretty much everything, all roads I've kind of led me back to that, is that I must just be like a boring person that nobody really wants to hang out with, because I guess I don't say very much. I'm pretty fucking introverted. I'll be the first one to admit to that. I love hanging out by myself. Or do I not? Have I just become so accustomed to it because I've just been so accustomed to never trying to make friends or talk to anybody that this is just where my comfort level is? Just diving into, relaxing and watching or listening or reading or skateboarding or running. But I've found that most of the activities I like to do are kind of solo missions, and I guess I'm kind of a loner, and I know I've thought about this, and I think I talked about it, but is that okay also? I'm led to believe that it's not okay to be a loner. Like, why are we living to be by ourselves? But some of my favorite situations or books or like settings of movies and books are just someone that's out in the middle of the desert by themselves, just, I guess, drifting. And I romanticize about that, about, just wandering the planet by yourself. But I don't know. I mean, I can't do that now. I have too many people that rely on me for a little bit. But people that, I think that's probably why I got into all these channels about like van life or people that go camping and whatnot, because they end up being out away from all the commotion, kind of by themselves, and it just seems so peaceful, honestly. Shout out to the Naked Guru YouTube channel. I saw a couple of your videos, and then what I liked most about them was you face the camera away from your face most of the time, and you're just chatting, but you're walking through these rural fields and roads in Thailand, and it was just so beautiful. And like, I definitely romanticize about a life like out in the middle of the nowhere, where no one's gonna bother me, where I guess I don't have to worry about people talking to me or finding me, or like where I could just wake up every day and do exactly what I wanted, which wouldn't amount to very much. It would be like exercise, eating, and then hanging out. But is that just like a waste of life? What good is that doing for the planet? Or is that not the message we're like trying to chase down in this life? Like, I know I'm gonna die one day. That's been very apparent the last year as the number in front changed from a 3 to a 4. Like, I definitely feel like I'm not young physically anymore. My brain is still extremely immature and and young. I definitely feel like a young I feel both. I kind of always felt like an old soul, just because I've considered myself kind of boring and a just homebody. But yeah, like a cabin at a lake, or a cabin up in the mountains, or like, one of my favorite YouTubers, just shout out Garrett Jenner, just moved from LA up to Auburn, California, up in the middle of nowhere, and he has a badass like 2-story house on 3 acres, and he has his own skate park, and like, he just gets to wake up and hang out with his dogs and himself, and he gets to skate at his house every day too. It just seems so relaxing, so fun, and he started jogging also, so that's tight. So big ups there, GG, on that 13 miler when you were battling game on it. But yeah, definitely jealous when I saw the crib that he moved to. It looked so sick. Even the place you had in LA was awesome, but I know it's smack dab in all the shit, but also like that seemed like a nice little relaxing oasis out there, because you had your little pool and your skate park, not your pool, but like a jacuzzi. Yeah, and like lately I've been looking up at the mountains, when I'm running or when I'm driving or I'm walking, and I've just been saying to myself, how do I get up there? How do I get up there? I want to like know what it's like up there, and I wanted to start hiking a ton and camping a ton, and I took my kids hiking one time this summer. I thought we would go camping, but I never pulled the trigger on that, just because I was just too afraid, too scared to really go learn how to drive the RV, or to like find obscure camping spots and feel confident to go out there and do it. I don't have all the gear, I want to say. Like, I know we have a tent, but we went camping up here in Ojai last summer for my daughter's birthday, and they had a little water park, and I think they had fun, but it was fucking stressful. And it was like a couple days after the 4th of July, and there's so many people, and we kind of picked like a just straight up, like, I wouldn't say ghetto, but it was just like, it was fairly cheap, and it was for putting out tents and like and camping, and like people were there camping like for a week. There were so many people. It was not the relaxed vibe that I had envisioned in my head. And then my cell phone like stopped working, it had been cracked, and then it just stopped working altogether. And so, for someone that is addicted to their phone, and then to have your phone stop working, and then to have so many people so loud, like there was a point where I just wasn't, like I couldn't fall asleep, and like I couldn't watch anything, and I don't think I brought a book. Like, I was kind of having a little meltdown silently because I wasn't gonna like do it loud, but there was people drinking at all hours of the day. Like, every time I woke up to go pee, that was another thing. It's like we had to go pee and poo like in outhouses. So there was no flushing toilets in the places where we were at. Or there was like one toilet, and then the girls had to wait a long time. So, you know, and as a boy, nothing I ever considered how difficult it would be to be a girl that's camping, and you don't have like a flushing toilet that you can get to like right away. Like, you have to like walk, or if it's at night, then you gotta like get your flashlight. And then there was just so many people near our campsite. I also felt like I couldn't even like just go out of the tent and just piss outside the tent. I like had to walk to, like, it was just like a lot. And I had all my kids with me, so I didn't feel like I could get super like smashed. And I mean, not super smashed, but like I think I drank maybe 2 beers or something like that. It was, then I'd have to be going off and like peeing all the time also. But yeah, I am just still figuring it out. I would like to say I don't know a lot less moving forward. And I think I'm just so puzzled about, like, almost being 41 and still feeling so lost, and like not understanding why. Like, I really thought I was gonna have it figured out by now. And when I say figured out, I don't even know what that means. But maybe just like a job or a career, and like all the like going on vacations and stuff like that. Maybe that's what I mean. I don't know. Looking for a Del Taco. And I thought it was this way. And if not, I'm flipping around and going the other way. This is a Beijing buffet. I think it was the other way. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on Del Taco? I think it's pretty ball. Yeah. Frig. Oh, cool. Can flip a Yui. I am just mentally on edge. Pretty much about everything as of late. Good thing I am pretty good at masking my emotions. I would say I don't. I'm pretty even-keeled to the layperson. I am just chilling, I would say. I would say if you ask most people, I'm pretty relaxed and pretty chill most all the time. But inside I'm pretty freaking anxious most days about pretty much everything. I guess it must stem from just like self-confidence, dude. Like, there's the Del Taco. I should have just gone the left in the beginning. Maybe it's a drive-through, dude. Oh, sweet. I think maybe it is. yeah, I Del Taco'd like a few years ago, and just, I don't know. Not a few years ago, like many years ago, but it is, I like it. And I like the fries. So I think I'm going to end it right here, get some food, and then we'll talk later. Bye.